What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another NFL Showdown breakdown courtesy of Awesemo.com. Today, we're talking about a Monday Night Football matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Seattle Seahawks, one in which the Seahawks are favored by 3 at home with an implied team total of 24.3, while the Vikings come in at 21.3. I'll break down all the parts of this game you need to know for the Showdown slate, but first, one quick bit of housekeeping. Do you want to win a free month to any sport of your choosing at Awesemo.com? Or a free piece of merchandise from our brand new merch store at shop.awesemo.com? Of course you do. So all you have to do right now, like this video, leave a comment down below telling me your favorite captain pick for this slate, and you'll be entered to win. It's part of our 24 days of giveaways. Our gift from us at Awesemo to you guys for helping us and supporting all the things we do. So make sure to like this video, leave a comment down below telling me your favorite captain pick, and you'll be entered to win a free month to any sport of your choosing at Awesemo.com, or a piece of merch from our new store at shop.awesemo.com, and you'll be entered to win a grand prize, which we're giving away on Christmas Eve, a free all-access pass to all of our sports at Awesemo.com. That's a $700 value, so go, make sure to like this video and leave a comment, and I'll go right now into the rest of the important parts of this Showdown discussion. Dalvin Cook looks like the best play on the Minnesota side to me, with the Seahawks allowing a very high, by league standards, 5.1 yards per rush. Cook is reportedly back to full health after his hamstring issues, and he was on the field for 77% of the snaps last week versus the Patriots. With his involvement in the run game and the pass game, Cook should be a popular play on the slate, and that is going to drive up his ownership quite a bit. So here we go. Here's the decision once again, the Sophie's choice. Do you play the high-priced running back or not? We've seen it blow up more times than not in the last few weeks, and I think it's totally credible if you want to fade Cook. But honestly, I said the same thing about Leonard Fournette, and we saw how that turned out. So look, I'm going to play Cook. I think he's a strong play, but I think if you're building a bunch of lineups, let's say doing a max 20 entry, which is pretty reasonable on DraftKings, I would think that you want to have half your lineups with Cook and half your lineups without. It's important to get a mix in your lineups if you're doing multiple entries. If you're doing a single entry, I would err on the side of playing Cook, but again, know that you're going to be with a whole lot of the field if you do so. The Seattle pass defense has been a bit underrated this year, but they are still allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete about 67% of their attempts. For that reason, I would think you would want to lean in on Cousins if you are fading Cook, or you are going to load up on the Seattle side. But again, it all trickles down from the choice of whether you're playing Cook or not. He is a linchpin for how everything is going to proceed for you on this slate. Cousins looks good, but you're going to have to carefully choose which target to go with on his side. I'm still worried about Stefon Diggs' knee after he was limited in practice, and he looked kind of gimpy last week versus the Patriots. But if you are going to play him, a lot of people are going to be afraid of those same things I just mentioned. So playing him is going to be a bit of contrarian value, especially after a quiet box score showing last week. Adam Thielen seems like the safer bet, but you're making a bet that's going to come with a lot more ownership, and it's with two guys. Diggs has a 25% target share, Thielen has a 27% target share, and Diggs is the more explosive player, so there is some upside in going to Diggs if you're willing to suck it up and deal with the fact that his knee might be still banged up pretty bad. It's a tough choice to make, but that is one choice which could help you get greatly ahead of the field. Kyle Rudolph has been on the field for most of the year, and that's a plus, but he really hasn't had a big day all year. If you want to play him, he's a very contrarian play, but not one who I'm dying to get into. Aldrick Robinson was the big beneficiary to Diggs' injury and Thielen's ineffectiveness last week because of the Patriots' game plan. He actually led the team in air yards last week, which is something that Aldrick Robinson does not do often. It seems unlikely that Robinson gets targeted 136 yards downfield over the course of this game, so I'd be more inclined to fade him than not, but as a value play, he is in consideration, and he has shown quite the rapport with Kirk Cousins, including on one Showdown slate earlier this year where he caught a bunch of touchdowns and single-handedly broke the slate. Minnesota has allowed just 15 passing touchdowns this year, second in the league, so it's going to be a tough spot to target for this Seahawks team and Russell Wilson. But with the Vikings also allowing just 3.7 yards per rush towards the bottom of the league as well, it's hard to guess where the scoring is going to come from here in a game where Vegas projects them for over 24 points. Russell Wilson is in play just because of how he's able to manufacture serviceable games out of nowhere. Not a terribly high ceiling effort so far this year. I don't think he's broken 30 points once this season, but he is able to put together decent games, decent enough to be worth considering in your Showdown lineup builds. It could be a tough spot for Wilson. Wilson's getting sacked on 10.2% of his dropbacks already, and Minnesota is an upper echelon pass rush, so who knows how many times he's going to get sacked today. Either way, maybe Russell Wilson running for his life will be better, and will get him out of the humdrum nature of Brian Schottenheimer's offense for the Seahawks. Doug Baldwin led the Seahawks skill position players with 93% of the snaps last week. His status as a game time decision is going to be key to watch. If he's playing, you can get some leverage on the field by throwing him in your lineups. If he's not playing, Tyler Lockett's going to be a much stronger play as a result. Whether Baldwin is in or not, Tyler Lockett might be one of the better plays on the slate. I think he's going to be able to get something going here in this matchup, and playing out of the slot more often than not is generally an asset for him. He would get more time out of the slot if Baldwin is ruled out. David Moore should get back in the mix after Jaron Brown had a bit of an outlier game, putting up 2 touchdowns on 3 targets last week. Moore has been leading the team in air yards more often than not over the last few weeks, and this one little blip on the radar shouldn't affect him overall. I think he's a very interesting play at 5,200 on DraftKings, and he could also be a very valuable contrarian captain play. Nick Vannett doesn't seem like a play to bank on here, but at his price, if he scores a touchdown, you'd probably be happy with it. So he's definitely in consideration for me. The one pivot to make could be to Ed Dickson at $400 on DraftKings. He's an interesting play, and he actually got more snaps than Vannett last week, despite not getting a single target. Chris Carson seems like the best running back play on this side, and it's possible he punches a touchdown in at some point, but it's really not a great rushing matchup. That said, Carson is a tough runner, and as we saw with Derrick Henry versus the Jaguars, a tough runner can get things going against even the most elite of defenses. Not that the Jaguars have been that this year, but you know what I'm saying. I'd be most inclined to play Chris Carson rather than a banged up Rashad Penny at this point, though again, there is probably contrarian value in Rashad Penny for that very reason. I think both kickers are in play again with 2 teams who are very stout defensively, in particular in the red zone, and 2 offenses who seem to be able to move the ball regardless of the situation that they're in. Sebastian Janikowski would be my preference out of the 2 kickers, just because I do think the Seahawks offense could struggle a little more even at home, but I think both he and Dan Bailey are viable plays with nobody down below screaming out to be played in this particular showdown slate. As for the defenses, I could see wanting to play the Vikings D as a very contrarian play. We talked about their sack rate and Russell Wilson getting sacked quite a bit, and that itself could generate some turnovers for the Vikings D to capitalize on. But the Vegas total doesn't support that at all, and generally you're trying to go within the guidelines of the Vegas total. I just think as a contrarian play, this is what I see, and I'm interested in the Vikings defense as a result. Based on the implied total, Vegas is expecting the Seahawks to put up some points though, so it's probably more logical to play it that way. My guess would be that if the Seahawks do score 24.3 points today, it's going to be hard to score that 0.3. My guess would be that it comes from a hodgepodge of touchdowns to random guys like the Ed Dicksons, maybe the David Moores of the world, but there is also a world in which the Seahawks D puts up a score versus a player in Kirk Cousins who's known to choke a little in high-profile spots, and then you pair that with some Sebastian Janikowski field goals. Maybe that's what gets you to that 24.3 that Vegas is looking for. Ultimately, decisions like these are what these games are about. I present the information to you as best as I see it, but you have to make your choice. If you think the Vikings D is going to have a good day like I think they may, then ride with me. We'll probably be upset at the end of it all, but it's worth a shot. If you think the Seahawks D can have a day, play them, but I do think it's a better spot for the Vikings offense and the Vikings defense. So there we have it. Those are my thoughts on this Monday Night Football showdown slate. Again, make sure to like this video and leave a comment telling me your favorite captain play for your chance to win a free month to any sport of your choosing at awesemo.com, or a free merch item from our new store at shop.awesemo.com. The choice is yours. All you have to do is like this video and leave a comment down below telling me who your favorite captain play is. And of course, we are still giving away a free week to anybody who wants to join the Awesemo family. All you have to do is use this promo code I'm going to drop in right here. It's promo code MUNSHOWDOWN. All you have to do is leave that on the sign-up page at awesemo.com, and you'll get access to all of the rankings and ownership projections from Awesemo, who is the top player in the world for good reason. And you can get also access to our premium Slack, in which a lot of people are exchanging really smart ideas every single day. So use this promo code MUNSHOWDOWN for your free week. Like the video, leave a comment for the chance to win our 24 days of giveaways. And please, no Derrick Henrys this time. I just can't emotionally stand it. But good luck to you all, and I'll see you guys again soon.